Did you see that shockwave? That is not Hollywood, that is raw kinetic energy. While the world is distracted by headlines, and while everyone is arguing on Twitter about Donald Trump's latest tweet, the US military is quietly doing something terrifying in the desert. What you are looking at is officially called Exercise African Lion. But if you look closer, if you look at the terrain, the equipment, the specific scenarios they are drilling, it becomes obvious. This isn't just a drill. This is a rehearsal for an invasion of Iran. Breaking news just confirmed the stakes. President Trump announced a big flotilla, a literal armada led by the USS Abraham Lincoln, is steaming towards the Persian Gulf right now. We are talking about Carrier Strike Group 3. We are talking about 7,000 sailors, F-35C stealth fighters, and Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. But an armada can only do so much from the water. To win a war against a regime like Tehran, you need boots on the ground, and that is exactly what this footage reveals. 8,000 elite troops, NATO allies, chemical warfare squads, all operating in a sandbox that looks identical to the Iranian plateau. Today, we are going to break down every frame of this operation. We will show you the weapons, the tactics, and the nightmare scenario the Pentagon is preparing for. Buckle up. This is the global military pulse. First, let's talk geography, because in war, geography is destiny. Take a look at this dust. The US Army didn't choose this location by accident. This represents the harsh, unforgiving terrain of southern Iran. High heat, zero cover, fine dust that chokes engines and blinds sensors. If the US Marines have to push inland from the Persian Gulf to secure the oil fields or neutralize missile silos, this is exactly what they will face. You see these convoys. This is a massive logistical flex. Moving 8,000 troops and heavy armor across this kind of ground is a nightmare. You have to fuel them, feed them, protect them. We are seeing the M1A2 Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles in their natural habitat. Critics say tanks are obsolete in the age of drones. Well, look at this footage and tell me that. When you need to break a defensive line, when you need to punch a hole through the enemy's fortifications. Nothing beats 70 tons of American steel, but the Iranians know this. They have been digging in for decades. That is why the US isn't just practicing driving. They are practicing combined arms warfare. Tanks on the ground, Apache in the air, artillery in the back. It is a symphony of destruction. Now let's talk about the heavy hitters. At the 1-minute mark of this footage, we see the star of the show, the HIMARS, High Mobility Artillery Rocket System. We saw what these systems did in Ukraine. They changed the game. But here, in a potential conflict with Iran, their role is different. Iran has thousands of ballistic missiles hidden in mountain tunnels. To stop them, the US needs speed. The tactic is called shoot and scoot. You fire a salvo of 6 GMLRS rockets precise to within a few meters, and then you move immediately. Because if you stay still for more than 2 minutes, the Iranian counter-battery fire will wipe you out. Look at those impacts. That is not a small firecracker. That is grid square removal. If that lands on an IRGC command center or a drone launch site, it is lights out, game over. And notice something else in the footage. The integration with NATO allies. The US isn't fighting alone here. We see British, French, and local partners. This is crucial because, in a war with Iran, the US needs bases. They need airspace. This drill proves that the coalition is plugged in and ready to fight on day one. But the desert is only half the battle. Let's shift to the water. Because this is where the economy of the world hangs by a thread. The Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil passes through that tiny choke point. Iran has threatened to mine it. They have threatened to sink tankers. They have a shadow fleet of illegal ships moving oil to fund their operations. Check out this footage of the special operations teams. These are the guys who have to solve that problem. This is high-speed interception. Watch how they move. This is VBSS visit, board, search, and seizure. It looks cool, but it is incredibly dangerous. Close quarters combat inside the narrow corridors of a ship. It is a death trap, ricochets, traps, enemy combatants hiding in the engine room. Why drill this now? Because the big flotilla Trump sent isn't just there to launch planes. It is there to enforce a blockade. If the order comes to cut off Iran's oil revenue completely, these are the teams that will be fast-roping onto the decks of those tankers in the middle of the night. Okay, guys, this next part. This is the stuff nightmares are made of. I want you to really look at this. These soldiers aren't wearing standard camo. They are in full CBRN gear, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear. Why? Why is this a priority in 2026? Because intelligence agencies are terrified of what a desperate regime might do. We aren't just talking about a nuke. We are talking about dirty bombs. We are talking about chemical warheads on cheap drones. Imagine fighting in 100-degree heat, adrenaline pumping, while wearing a rubber suit that makes it hard to breathe. You can't see well, you can't hear well, and you know that one tear in your suit means a slow, painful death. The fact that the US Army is drilling this so heavily tells me one thing: they believe the threat is real. They believe that if US troops cross the border, or if Israel strikes the nuclear sites, Iran might unleash something toxic. This drill is about survival. It is about keeping the fighting force alive in a radioactive wasteland. It is chilling, but it is necessary. So let's zoom out. What does all this mean? We have the big flotilla, the armada, closing in on the coast. We have 8,000 troops simulating a massive ground assault in a simulated Iranian desert. We have chemical defense teams on high alert. The Pentagon is putting all the pieces on the chessboard. They are showing Tehran that they have the capability to dominate every domain: land, air, sea, and cyber. Donald Trump said, "We will see what happens." Well, looking at this footage, the US military isn't waiting to see. They are getting ready to act. This operation, African Lion, is technically just a drill, but make no mistake, the tactics we are seeing here, the specific weapons, this is the playbook for World War III in the Middle East. The question is, will Iran take the hint? Or are we sleepwalking into a conflict that will set the entire region on fire? I want to hear from you. Do you think the big flotilla is a bluff, or is an operation imminent? And would you be ready to fight in one of those chemical suits? Drop a comment below. If you want to stay ahead of the news while the mainstream media catches up, hit subscribe to Global Military Pulse. We will keep watching the horizon. Over and out.